Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy Thankful Thursday. I am Kylene with Rise, Shine, Smile, and I'm excited to be here today. We are going to talk about empowering yourself, and I have a special guest today who I'll introduce in just a little bit. But I just want to start off today with why we're here every week. Why are we doing Thankful Thursday? And the idea behind Thankful Thursday is just to talk about or being intentional with gratitude, remembering that it's when we're in a state of gratitude, we're in a state of appreciation, and therefore we have even more to be grateful for in our life. And so we start attracting more good things to us. So we're being intentional, talking about gratitude, and then as well as other mindset tips and tricks and just discussions about how we can really have a more fulfilling life with more smiles and more joy. And that's why we're here every week talking on Thankful Thursday. And today I'm excited because we have a very special guest, my good friend, Tanya Doyscher with Gracie B, Doodle Designs. And we're going to talk about embracing change together. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on here now.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you for asking me. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to talk about mindset and how we can really live a life with more fulfillment and more intention.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite people to talk to about it because
Well,
you're living proof that it makes a difference when we really are intentional with our choices. So
it really does.
Yeah. So what are you grateful for today before we get too far along here?
I am grateful for productivity because I've gotten a lot done today, which isn't always the case because sometimes you have constant interruptions and you have to make the best of that. And I'm really grateful for my journey and how far I've come. I did a regular yoga class today. I went on a mile walk, and 9 months ago I wouldn't have been able to do that. So,
Woohoo, that's so awesome. I'm very proud of you. Thank you
thank you.
for sharing that. That's really cool. And it looks like Cindy is here. She says, "Welcome, Tanya."
Hi, Cindy.
And good Thankful Thursday. I hope you are doing well. Thanks for joining in. I love that you say that you're grateful for the progress that you've made because that's what kind of this whole show is about, right? It's about being intentional with our choices, showing up in a way that's meaningful, and all of that is part of empowering yourself.
Yes.
What have you found to be like the most impactful thing that you've done on your journey?
Celebrating when I'm doing things really well. And if I'm having a bad day, stopping myself and being like, okay, am I in my head or is this legitimate? Um, because sometimes, especially like my journey is a weight loss and health journey, you don't always see what everyone else sees. There's the body dysmorphia and all that. And I'm stopping and being like, okay, what can I do to turn my mindset around? Do I need to look at pictures of how far I've come? Do I need to look at the fact that I did a regular yoga class today and kind of remembering where I started? Starting out walking with a cane and being in misery 24/7 and being like, okay, how do I feel now?
Yeah.
I feel really good. And the fact that people say your smile now reaches your eyes is huge.
Oh, what an awesome compliment.
Mm.
And I can see it too. I just see the pride that you have and what you're doing every day. Um, you can tell you're showing up truly for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you're letting your light shine bright. I know that kind of sounds cheesy, but that's truly what you're doing, right? And that's what people are noticing.
It is. And, some people think that some of the things I'm doing are easy, but in actuality, nothing about it has really been easy per se. So it's finding more good than the hard, and telling myself that I can do hard things. I do hard things every day, and I'm seeing the fruits of that labor.
Yeah. Would you mind? Well, we have a couple comments here. First of all, Rena is here. Hello.
Hi, Rena.
Um, Cindy would like to hear kind of your backstory, and I apologize. I should have had you start with that. So,
Oh, that's okay. I had become extremely unhealthy. I'm not blaming Jay, but his heart attack in I don't remember whatever year COVID was.
2020.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like, it's escaping me right now. Um, caused a lot of stress. And so the theory is I was already overweight because I have PCOS and other things. But the stress caused autoimmune stuff to surface, and I gained a lot of weight. And then the autoimmune stuff was like deteriorating my joints, and I was walking with a cane, and I was in chronic pain, chronic fatigue. So I made the decision after having a very terse conversation with an orthopedic surgeon um, that I was going to have weight loss surgery, and it was the best decision that I ever made. I didn't ever really consider it heavily before because I thought that it's not easy to get approved, but I thought it was like almost impossible to get approved. But once I got into did the meeting, and then it was a 6-month process of going through classes, physical therapy, nutrition, different testing, and things like that. I had my surgery November 2nd of last year, so I was 9 months as of yesterday, and I had some complications, not necessarily directly related from the surgery, but because of other health stuff that I probably would have ignored had I not been aware of my body in the surgery, which actually could have been very devastating because one of them could have been fatal. So the first months were really hard. I was having a lot of being sick to my stomach, not tolerating some foods and things like that. But I got to about 6 months out, and that all kind of turned around. I don't have very many food aversions now. I did find out that I have to track my food because I actually wasn't eating enough. But I'm 105 pounds down, and I feel so much better, and I'm very active now. And I have to credit chair yoga for helping me regain strength, balance, and flexibility, because we started that prior to me ever being involved with the weight loss surgery. But it's huge. And the fact that I'm now transitioning from chair yoga to regular yoga is something that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, you're doing amazing with that. And I think it's fun for me to see from the outside looking in, because I know how hard you're working and I know how hard you have worked, especially before your surgery.
Mm-hmm.
You really started to create these habits and put these things in place for yourself before you went through the surgery. So you had all these healthy things going for you going into the surgery that you've carried with you throughout the journey. So I think that's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Cindy wrote, wow, look, you look fantastic. What a testimony.
Thank you. And it's nice to feel better, to feel like I have energy and I can do things. I've lost some relationships along the way, whether it be from, I don't want to say jealousy, but some people can't handle that I'm smaller than them now, which makes me kind of sad. But I've also found my people too. And I think that that's important. But
Yeah.
it's kind of a mind thing, addressing, the losses per se against, this new person. Because sometimes I catch glimpses of myself and I don't I don't recognize myself, which is really bizarre.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, when you were talking about the friendships that maybe have shifted a little bit, I mean, I think that's you being intentional with really just knowing what's important to you and knowing the power. I mean, that's one of the parts of empowering yourself is surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yes.
Um, their energy, their attitudes, all of that impact us. And when you're in this journey, you become more sensitive to it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you sharing all of that. It is really powerful. And the one thing you said in there too was you choose how you wanted
Mhm.
to move forward every day. So this is what I think is so cool. So Tanya has a Choose store. I'll put the link up. You guys have to check it out. What she's doing with this it's really cool. There it is. So there's the link to her store, and it's called the Choose store. The cool thing about it is that this is truly what gratitude is all about, what empowering yourself is all about, by knowing that you are in control of your choices and how you show up and how you respond to life's events. It's all of our choice. And that's where our power is. And so what you're doing with this is really cool. So will you tell us more about it?
Sure. First, something that could be confusing is it says ICE on there. ICE actually stands for Inspire, Collaborate, and Encourage. And I've talked on here about that before. And it's my podcast that I need to get back to. And then Choose kind of follows in on that. But I started Choose inadvertently when Jay had his heart attack. I would literally choose happy, choose joy, choose brave, and I would do it as often as I need it. So I always say now, you choose what you need as often as you need it, and your word can change during the day. You can choose every 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. Just you're in control of your feelings and emotions. And so you choose to do that. And I am very active in the bariatric community on TikTok and some other communities too. But that's what I talk about. Everyone has control over their circumstances. I mean, yeah, you can't control everything, but at least if you're not constantly negative, your good things are going to happen. I know in the meeting the other day, we talked about that thoughts turn into things. Positive thoughts turn into positive things. Negative thoughts are going to turn into negative things. And those negative things can be health related. They can just be putting out those negative vibes into the world, and then bad things happen. And I've seen it in my life and in others as well. So that makes it really hard. So one of the things that I did is I created a dry erase board, and there's a couple different colors, and I can do other colors. But every day I choose my word and I write it on here, and I have it in front of me over here, so that if I need a reminder, I can look over there and it's like, oh yeah, I was going to choose to focus on one thing at a time today. Because I've had a struggle with that this week of being everywhere and getting nowhere. So that's where that came from. And then also in the Choose store, there's affirmation shirts like this one: inhale positivity, exhale negativity. There's some Choose specific ones. And I'm adding things in there all the time. Soon there will be the nameplates for the Stanleys and the Stanley dupes. So cool. This just goes on my Tumblr, and this one has my name on it, but I'll have ones with sayings and things like that. And so that would be another good visual. The visuals have helped me because it kind of was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, you have that constant reminder. Okay, today this is really important to me, and I want to be reminded of that. So you have that physical reminder.
Yes.
That's so cool. And I love the top of your drink. What did you get? It's your Stanley cup right here. Yeah, I think that's so cool. So every time you drink, you're seeing it and constantly reminded.
And the nice thing about me talking about it on TikTok, that I didn't know if anyone would resonate with it, but a lot of people have. A lot of people have purchased the Choose boards, but there's one friend of mine who I haven't met in person yet, but she's from Tennessee. She's a teacher. She just purchased a board for herself at home, and she purchased a board for her class. And I just think that's so cool that she's going to pass it on to her students and other staff. So I'm very excited to hear the feedback from her students.
I think that's awesome because I don't know for you. I mean, I grew up in a pretty positive household, thankfully, but not everyone has those role models in their life. And so to go to school and to learn this valuable tool that it is our choice how we show up, and we can be intentional and get in these habits, right? So we can have more of the positive outcomes or more of the outcomes that are not doom and gloom all the time.
Right. And, I don't know that I necessarily learned any of these coping strategies growing up. I didn't grow up in a bad household or a negative household or anything like that. But there were some like mental health things that went on in my family. And so I struggled in adulthood with trying to learn these. And like I happened across choose inadvertently, and then I realized what I was doing. I'm like, huh, that's really cool. I'm going to keep this going in every aspect of my life.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that you're sharing it and people get to showcase it and just really have the tools in place, right?
Yeah.
That they need to move forward. Cindy had a comment here. I wanted to throw it up. So when you were talking about how your relationships had kind of changed, Cindy wrote, that is sad how people can judge outward. You're probably the same person in your heart. You were working to save your life. They should try to do the same. Well said, Cindy. I
I don't
agree.
have any, like bad feelings. I'm sad because I think it's more of a them problem than a me problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I actually can understand it because I remember, when I was younger and I had some friends that lost weight that I was uncomfortable, and it made me feel worse about myself. So I get it, but it's still, relationships change,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a hard thing sometimes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we can either choose to stay the same and get more of what we already have, which some people want to stay there, that's okay. But
Mhm.
when you truly, are surrounding yourself with growth-minded people, it
Mhm.
allows you just to experience more out of your life. And I think it is hard. It's hard to, you kind of grieve those losses, right? Because at that time, those are really important people in your life. And you don't, it's
Yes,
not that you wish them bad feelings or anything like that. Um, but there's different seasons in our life, right? And
absolutely.
yeah. Well, and the other thing I wanted to come back to is you talked about celebrating, how that has been
Mhm.
a big part of this whole journey. And that is another way we empower ourselves is with
Mhm.
celebration. So at the end of every day, we celebrate. What
Yes.
did I get done? Or like you today, you did your regular yoga class with me this morning
Mhm.
and you did awesome with it. It's so important that you recognize those accomplishments. They don't always have to be big like that. They can be small wins too.
Actually, Jay laughs at me all the time, not in a mean way, but he's like, you're like a kid in a candy store, because sometimes the smallest things I just get get absolutely giddy about. The first time I crossed my legs without realizing it. The first time I sat in the movie theater seat without having to wedge myself in there, or the first time I ran up the stairs, I'm like, I just ran up the stairs. That hasn't happened in years. So he's getting a kick out of my celebrations too, because sometimes they're kind of funny.
I am so proud of you for recognizing those moments
Mhm.
because those are the ones that really matter, right?
Yes.
That's what was keeping you in that place that you were having. That's what drove you, I should say. One of the reasons is that you wanted to be able to run up the stairs and look at you. You can do
Yeah,
it now. And
absolutely. Absolutely. And
yeah.
recognizing when I'm being in my head. That's another huge thing of just being very in tune with, okay, I'm in a bad mood. Why? And then realizing, okay, this happened. I either need to put it away or I need to address it, instead of just burying things. Like, I think a lot of us have a tendency to just like, okay, I'll ignore it and it'll get better. It doesn't get better unless you address it.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah. Well, we get in the habit, right? The thought pattern of, okay, it's okay. Well, I talked about it on here for a little bit a couple weeks ago. I talked about how sometimes gratitude is one of the most powerful, I think it's our superpower we all have access to, but
Yes.
it can be used as a crutch.
Mhm.
It can be, and I had never really thought about it that way until I really reflected personally. And I was like, wow, it can be a crutch. I should be thankful that at least I'm still alive, but that's
Mhm.
holding you back, right? Yes, you need to be thankful, but you still need to have that growth mindset
Mhm.
and continue to work and move forward. So,
Yeah, and take chances, but also at the same point, my words yesterday were realistic and sustainable, because so many people in their minds, when they think of working out, they think of going to the gym and slaving away for an hour or more, and that's not the case. Small doses of intentional movement do wonders. So, like today, I got up and did yoga. I took a 24-minute walk, which was a little over a mile. And then tonight, I'll do a challenge on TikTok that I'm involved with. And that's great. I don't have to go to the gym and slave away for that amount of time, because when I was thinking of it that way, I didn't want to do it. If I can
Mhm.
break it up into chunks and make it like realistic and something that's sustainable over time, then I'm more willing to get up and do it. Especially if
Yep.
I can incorporate friends with it, doing yoga with
Mhm.
you and Becky this morning when we do our tapping meditations. Going for a walk enabled me to clear my head and like break up my day, which
Yeah.
sometimes I don't do, and then I get nothing done because I'm too focused and beating my head against a wall if I'm having a problem.
Mhm. I think that's so cool, and I'm glad that those strategies are working for you, and you shared that because it can be kind of daunting and can prevent some people, right, from moving forward and taking that next step because it seems so big.
Yeah.
But it's just, taking that next step that you can do, survive that risk and realize, okay, I feel pretty good here.
Yeah.
I think that's really powerful. And that's what, not to change the subject, but it just leads me right into the joyful challenge.
Mhm.
That is on the Facebook page for Rise, Shine, Smile. But it's one yoga pose a day for 10 days. And the idea is to realize that you can do yoga if you're brand new to it.
Mhm.
And it looks different. I show different variations. And then just being intentional with your movement and how you feel after you have intentional movement, just what you just said.
Yes.
It can reset your mind. It
Mhm.
breaks you away from that environment that's making you feel stuck.
Mhm.
And I think that's really important.
And then also with yoga, the utilizing your breath, that has been a huge thing for me, that I had never thought about before. But through yoga and then also a meditation app that I use, learning how to breathe through things. And so, like, there's been some medical procedures that I've had that I was really stressed out about. A nurse actually asked me, "Can I ask you what you were doing during that? Because your respirations never changed." I'm like, I was breathing and counting, like doing a meditation. And she's like,
Mhm.
"Oh my gosh, I wish more patients would do that because you never faltered."
That's awesome. I mean, again, it's proof that you are truly implementing
Hmm.
these skills, these habits into your life and getting positive changes. So
Hmm.
that's awesome. I wanted to check a couple comments here. It looks like Michelle is here. Hi, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
And Cindy wrote, "True friends take the good, the bad, and the changes."
Hmm.
They
And
do.
not that those friendships are gone forever, but my journey has been pretty new and pretty abrupt from a time standpoint. So I'm understanding. I'm still a little sad, but I get it.
Yeah. And you don't know what the future holds, right?
Right.
And yeah. And then what you can do is continue to empower yourself, right? Continue
Hmm.
to be intentional, continue to move in the direction that you're sharing your light. Like I said at the beginning, you said people are commenting on your smile. I mean, I think that's just like the ultimate compliment, right? You are vibrating at a higher frequency now and
Hmm.
attracting good things to you.
And also, I've found almost a new tribe. Not that I'm throwing away the old tribe, but I have so many people that have come into my life that are such true blessings. And I have to embrace that too, because they're the people that are moving me forward. I'm helping move them forward. And it's just that give and take for all of us. And when one of us is having a hard time, I told one of the other ones the other day, I'm like, you don't get to disappear if you're having a hard time. Well, I don't want to put my stuff on you. And I'm like, that's too bad. I need to give you some of my energy so that we can build you back up. And those are the types of relationships that are filling my cup these days.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Michelle wrote, "Tanya is very inspiring. I need to chat with her more and get yoga with Kylene into my schedule." Yes, we've been missing each other, but we'll get back to
Mhm.
it, Michelle. We
Yep.
will. But Tanya, you are really inspiring, and I think that's why I wanted you to be on here again, because I think your journey and the way you've used these tools in your life and how it's had such positive impacts on you, but also the people around you. I'm inspired. Michelle's inspired. People around you are inspired, and that says that you are actually doing what you say and what you're sharing, that it
That
works.
makes my heart very happy.
Yeah, I'm just really proud to call you a friend, and I'm really thankful that you're here. But I'm really thankful that you're sharing these on tangible things for people to take. And can you show us your whiteboard again? I think it's
Absolutely.
cool. I just want people to see that. And is it metal?
Nope, it's hardboard.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So, but it's totally, dry erasable. Just bought some dry
Oh.
erase things with an eraser on it. So it's really easy, especially because sometimes you need different things during the day. So now that it's the end of the day, I can change it.
I love it.
To choose happy or whatever I might need. And sometimes it's not just a word, sometimes it's a phrase, sometimes it's a thought. And like the other day, I had one base word, I think it was manifest, but then in another color, I wrote little words all around it because I just felt like I needed more that day of some reminders. Because not every day is easy, and the days I get into my head or I'm like trying to compete with others, which is, I know in my head it's ridiculous. I cannot compare myself to someone who is like an athlete, but that's what I was doing. And I got into kind of a bad mood about it. And then I'm like, I had to reset. And I'm like, no, my journey is my journey. And I don't want anyone comparing themselves to me. So I can't compare myself to the other people.
Yep. That's so true. But you have that awareness now. You realize, okay, I can catch myself in those moments. Those moments are still going to happen. We're still going to have challenges. We're still going to have tough times. It's just, how long do you stay there? What do you use in those moments to continue to still move forward? It doesn't mean it takes any value away from that event or anything. It just helps you move forward. So,
and sometimes figuring out what what happened, that why am I doing this? And sometimes you have to unpack that a little bit, and it's like, oh, and sometimes it can be simple as being interrupted and getting off track, and then it's like, okay, you need to go do something else for a while and then come back. So
yep, so true. So true. Well, you've shared a lot of amazing things today. I really, truly appreciate it. You guys should go to her link down here. I've left it up, tvivmn.chipley.com/ICE.
yep.
Inspire, collaborate, and what is
Encourage.
it? Thank you. I was going to say engage, and I'm like, it's not engage, Kylene. You know this. So I apologize.
It's all good.
Like
And
I
I
said,
will be adding the these on there in the next, probably early next week, because I'm actually going to go spend some time in South Dakota this weekend. And so I probably won't get a lot loaded over the weekend.
right, you need to go have some fun. So
Mhm.
that's exciting. All right. Well, if you guys have questions for Tanya, just please reach out to her. Gracie B Doodle Designs is where you can find her, as well as on that link, of course. And then I want to invite you guys to go to the Rise, Shine, Smile link for gratitude. So it's rssyoga.link /gratitude. So that's the daily gratitude channel where we can go and just be intentional about our gratitude. We just share a quick message. What are you grateful for that day? And again, like Tanya was saying, with the community around you, finding your peer people. If you don't have those people around you, this is a great place to find your people too. It's a safe place just to share your gratitude there. And then one more thing is, if you head over to Rise, Shine, Smile, the Facebook group, you can join our Joyful Yoga Challenge. It's one yoga pose a day. And then you can print off your PDF and you can follow along every day, one pose. That's it. And just notice how you feel after one pose.
I also want to say, if you haven't followed Rise, Shine, Smile on TikTok, please do so. We are trying to get Kylene to 1,000 so she and I can go live together. And not TikTok's not for everyone, but it also isn't the scary place that it probably once was. I'm very active, and I've gotten so much good out of TikTok in the community. I actually went and met about 104 people at an event in Chicago about 6 weeks ago.
That's so cool. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a brave thing to do too.
Yeah. And it was such an amazing experience.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Yes. The follow me on TikTok as well. And you can do the challenge there. So Cindy wrote, thank you for sharing your story. You're an inspiration. Awesome.
Thank you.
And thank you, Kylene, for Thankful Thursdays. Well, you're welcome. Thanks for coming every week. I really appreciate your support. Thank you, Tanya, for being here today. It's been a pleasure sharing your journey and just talking about how you've empowered yourself and how others can use these tools to empower themselves too.
Thank you. It's always a joy to be here.
Your husband's here too.
Hi, Jay.
I'm here for the hot chicks. We'll end it on that note. I love it. All right. Well, thank you again, Tanya. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.